Hey guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. I want to start this video off by saying I do apologize if you can hear the fan buzzing and the air conditioning going on right now. Currently, I might as well be residing in the devil's armpit. It is so hot. I do apologize if that's gonna bother you, but today I want to wrap up my reading in June. I read 10 books. I have them all written down right here. The lowest rating that I gave a book this month was 2 stars, which I'm very proud of myself, again, for doing. And down below in the comments, I want to know whether or not you guys read any of the books that I'm going to talk about in this video, or what books you guys read in June. Before we start, actually, I would like to bring your attention down to the description box below. My usual links will be there, obviously, along with, the links to my Goodreads in order to see, the reviews that I put out for each of these books. But the usual links that I have down there will be replaced by abortion funding links, because in light of Roe v. Wade being overturned, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of stuff on the line here. You guys don't have to check them out, but they are there just in case you guys need information because you're in a situation that calls for this type of stuff. I just feel like, the information that's there could hopefully be used by people who need it. Who knows, maybe one day a woman will have about as many rights as a gun does. You never know. That'll be the day, right? So with that being said, let's just get right into the video and hopefully lift people's spirits up. The first book that I read in June was A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor by Kathryn Moon. I gave this 5 stars. This is a reverse harem monster lovers romance about a girl named Esther who works in this manor house that services monsters. This has to be, hands down, the best monster lover book that I've read, the best reverse harem book that I've read. All right. I loved this. I devoured this, all right, so quickly. It was so good. It's really short. Kathryn Moon honestly might be a new favorite romance author of mine. Katie Robert, you got some stiff competition, honeycomb, okay? Because, wow. I talked about this in my mid-year book freakout tag. This has to be one of my favorite books that I've read of the whole year. The second book that I read this month was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Chloe is someone who basically just had a near-death experience, and she's like, oh man, my life would be pretty boring if somebody read this in a eulogy, so I'm gonna get a life. Right, so she makes a list. She enlists the help of Red, or Redford Morgan, a guy that lives in her building, to help her complete every single thing on this list, and a romance may or may not blossom between the two. Okay, I gave this 5 stars. Okay, I also talked about this in my mid-year book freakout tag. This has to be, again, along with Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, this has to be one of the best books I've read this year, basically. Okay, this was just so cute. I can't remember the last time a book had me blushing, kicking my feet, and giggling, okay? This book has it all. I think that if you're looking for first of all, a really good romance book, choose this. If you're looking for a romance book that you can fly through, again, choose this, because I, like Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, I devoured this. And then also, I would say that if you're looking for a romance book that has the he fell harder trope, this is for you. Okay, wow. The next book that I read for June was The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. I gave this 3 stars. This is about a woman named Evelyn Caldwell who is a pioneer in the cloning research field, and she is basically solidified cloning in our society, right? It's a science fiction novel, and let's just say her husband that she is going through a very nasty divorce with is cheating on her with a clone of her. It's messy. It is so messy. Okay, and let's just say something really bad happens to where both the clone and Evelyn have to team up and work together. This is the second Sarah Gailey book that I've read, and I just don't think she's for me. While this was an okay book, there were some things that just bugged me. Evelyn is not a likable character, which, you know, isn't a thing to be pissed about, I guess, because, you know, I do like some unlikable characters here and there. But the thing is, Sarah Gailey likes to write unlikable characters, because the other book that I read by her, Magic for Liars, that was another book whose main character was an unlikable character. She was just a whiny and self-pitying drunk, okay? Evelyn in here, it was honestly a debate between me being like, okay, is she an unlikable character or is she just an insufferable bitch? And quite frankly, it just rang true with the latter. I did not enjoy reading from Evelyn's perspective at all. And there was a key plot point in here that was like a climax of the story in some way, and it kind of just nullified a whole part of the book. And I just didn't understand it. I just remember getting really bored through this. I just don't think that Sarah Gailey is for me. I think it's a pretty good sci-fi book, but it just wasn't for me. This fourth book, I feel like that last sentiment on the Echo Wife was about, it pretty much rings the same, and that is Somebody Loves You by Mona Arshi. This is a poetry collection about this girl named Ruby, and her mother has some undisclosed mental health issues, and it's all about Ruby coming to terms with that and her being mute. I gave this 3 stars. I read this for a book club that I'm in, and I just don't think it was for me. It was written beautifully. The prose in here was absolutely gorgeous. I also really loved the approach that Mona Arshi took with this, with Ruby in particular, learning to find her voice even when she is herself mute. I loved that angle. This is just going to be really short because I don't really have anything else to say about this book other than it was beautifully written. I love the angle. It just wasn't for me. I'm not a big poetry girl. I'm really excited to talk about this one. The next book that I read was Star Wars: The High Republic, The Light of the Jedi by Soule. This is set 200 years before The Phantom Menace, I believe. It's all about the Jedi and the High Republic trying to find out what caused this ship to literally rip itself apart in hyperspace and have the debris go everywhere, literally endangering billions of lives, and them discovering this burgeoning evil, right? I loved this. Okay, I give this 4 stars. This is like the first Star Wars book that I've read, and in all honesty, I'm so ready to continue not only the High Republic sub-series, but like the actual Disney canon novel series made up of that amalgamation of authors. It's huge. We got so many different POVs. That battle scenes were amazingly written, which in my opinion, I feel like is pretty hard to translate from, you know, your mind onto paper. The villain in here, also, really convincing as a villain. The villain in here had me at points being like, okay, dude, you might need to be omitted K to the hospital, hey, ASAP, okay? Because you have some issues here, dude. Like, you just, wow, okay? If I saw you walking down the street in front of me, I would cross the street to walk down the sidewalk on the other side. The next book that I read, the 6th book, is Neon Gods by Katee Robert. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. This Persephone runs away from Zeus in order to basically strike a bargain with Hades, being like, hey, if I'm with you and we fake date, right, Zeus will not want me as a bride because God forbid a woman not be a virgin when she's married. Okay, so then Hades is like, shoot, a chance to get back at Zeus because apparently he and Zeus have beef? Sure. And that's what this book is about. It's all about, you know, Hades and Persephone and their burgeoning love and yada yada. I gave this book 3 stars. It was good. It was really good. I flew through it. Katee Robert is one of my favorite romance authors. I think she writes romance and smut, especially, very, very good. I just had a few problems with it. That was all, just like some nitpicky things. One of the gripes that I have with this book is that the whole idea of the gods themselves, because they're not really gods in this book, the names Hades, Zeus, Hera, Demeter, they're all titles. And it's only like the 13 main gods of the Greek pantheon, but there's still characters in this book who have Greek mythology names. Like the daughter of Zeus is still called Helen. The sons of Zeus are still called Heracles and Perseus and Persephone and her sisters. And it's like, if y'all aren't titles, why do y'all have Greek mythology? I just didn't understand that part. And then the whole thing of Zeus, because Zeus is supposed to be the villain in this book. Zeus's villainry came off more as a case of told and not shown. We were supposed to believe that this guy was a douchebag, the douchiest of douchebags. We never saw that. At least I didn't. Not even looking at this book. In Greek mythology, this guy is so wretched that he turns into animals to get at women. It is. So I guess maybe Katee Robert was banking off of that type of thing in order to make you hate Zeus. Zeus is basically the equivalent of that weird flasher that you just have to walk around in order to get to your work on the subway. But I didn't see it in this, and that's another thing that I was kind of, kind of came off as a little bit lazy writing, just because, the told not shown. But other than that, this is a pretty solid Hades and Persephone retelling. It was really steamy. Okay, I mean, it's Katee Robert. What did I really expect? Nothing less. The 7th book that I read was Looking by Katrina Jackson. This is a really short, almost novella-esque type of story where it's this couple who's got a pretty solid emotional grasp on their marriage, but they're bored, so they're like, okay, we'll open our marriage and we'll find a third. So it's all about them trying to find a third, and they find this girl named Jordan, and she ends up being their third, and it's all about them. I loved this book. Okay, thruples, I love thruples. Okay, polyamory is something that I am starting to see more and more in romance, which I'm so happy about that. Oh my gosh, Looking did it amazing. All right, I gave it 5 stars. I would even say that, this is the last day of Pride Month, but if you were looking for an LGBTQ plus book, there is some bi rep in here because the wife is going through a journey in order to find out whether or not she is bi. And so there is bi representation in here, and it's just, wow, the communication between not only the husband and the wife, but obviously the wife, the husband, and the girlfriend, and like everything in between was so refreshing. And I think that should say a lot, that, healthy communication is refreshing. Looking, I loved it. I'm gonna have to look up more about Katrina Jackson, okay, because this was amazing. The next book that I want to talk to you guys about is the book that I gave 2 stars. This is Only for a Night by Naima Simone. This is about a girl named Harper whose husband just died, and she is like, okay, I'm gonna get a sex life. So she goes to this aphrodisiac club run by her ex, who is an ex-Irish mobster and who's trying to get out of that mob life, but is now running this aphrodisiac club. And she comes to him and is like, hey, I need you, to help me get my sex drive back up. And he's like, okay, sure, but only for a night because you broke my heart or whatever. That's that, right? It's very short, very novella style thing. And I didn't like it, okay? And most of it was just the wording, now that I think about it. Don't get me wrong, I liked Harper somewhat. Her inner monologue got to be obnoxious sometimes. The main guy, what's his name, Ryan, he had anger issues. Let's just say that if I met these 2 people as a couple nowadays, I would be betting on how long they would actually stay together, okay? Because these 2, they would not last honeycomb. And like I said, the wording was a major part of why I really didn't like this book. It used some very icky words, just like in the sex scene. Like, I just want to know why you use the word sexual assault when describing a sex scene. It came off as a badly edited Get a Life, Chloe Brown. And then the last two are Warriors books, because I do have some super editions that I want to read, and I am going through a Warrior Cats reread. So, the 9th book that I read this month was Mapleshade's Vengeance by Erin Hunter. I gave this 3 stars. This was okay, you know, it was a pretty solid Warriors book. It was a good delve into a key villain in the Warrior Cats series as a whole. Just some of the writing was kind of obvious. All right, Mapleshade is a crude and maniacal bitch. This is the type of girl that would not only key your car, slash your tires, break your windshield, but also leave poop in a bag outside of your door. And I think it was pretty efficiently translated in here based off of everything that we'd heard about Mapleshade. And then the last book that I read was Goosefeather's Curse by Erin Hunter. This I gave 4 stars to, okay? I read Blue Star's Prophecy a while ago, like years ago, and I didn't really remember that much about Goosefeather. And I was kind of worried that it would be almost the same type of thing as Mapleshade, where it was like going to be really obvious, but no, not really. You kind of get almost sympathetic for Goosefeather, because Goosefeather, he sees dead. Like, I see dead people, that's Goosefeather, okay? And he's kind of freaked out by it. He can't tell anybody that he knows that, you know, your dead grandma standing right next to you. He can't really tell that to you because you're gonna freak out, right? So he's dealing with this, and then also dealing with the really horrible famine that strikes the clan while he's a medicine cat, and just dealing with the fact that even though he can see the future, he's unable to change it, only warn and hopefully safeguard against, right? And he's coming to terms with that, and I really liked how Erin Hunter wrote Goosefeather to be almost this sympathetic character who's gone through bullying and who's now gotten so far into his own head that now he's almost power hungry about it. And it was interesting to see that kind of character arc. And I don't know, I really liked the ending where it ended with Pine Star being given his 9 lives, and the whole thing about Goosefeather seeing that Pine Star will eventually leave the clan for being a kitty pet, and it was something where even Goosefeather was like, it's my curse and I can't even tell him that he's gonna do this. I loved the Goosefeather's Curse. Okay, like I said, give it 4 stars. This has to be one of my favorite Warrior Cats books, okay, and it's only a novella. So you guys, that was my June reading wrap up. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you guys will not only look at the links down below, but also that you guys will maybe check these books out, obviously if any interest you. And I hope that next month we have as good of a reading month as we all did this month, hopefully. Or if you were just unlucky this month, I hope that next month is luckier for you. Okay, guys? So with that being said, I hope that you guys are staying safe and that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.